muted.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Dusko from Department of Transportation, and today I'm going to be talking about the web grant system through the Grants Bureau of the Montana Department of Transportation. If you don't mind, if you're on the phone, if you could mute your line to mitigate any feedback, I would appreciate it. If you have questions, there will be time at the end of the phone call to ask questions either verbally, or you can type them into the GoToMeeting chat, and I will address all those questions at the end of the presentation. So currently, right now, you should be seeing the main login screen of the web grant system. I'm going to be taking you through several elements of the web grant system, to include logging in, accessing your grant, submitting fiscal reports, and submitting programmatic reports. If you have any specific programmatic questions specific to your grant that doesn't apply generally to the web grant system, please contact your your program manager for all those programmatic specific questions. So we begin. This is the main login page of the web grant system. It is simply montanawebgrants.com. This is where you utilize your user ID and password that the system generated for you in logging in. If you have a user ID but you can't remember your password, type in your user ID and click Forgot Password. If you can't remember your user ID or you can't remember your password, you'll need to contact your program manager and we'll provide one for you. If you have not registered in the web grant system, please do so, and then you'll need to work with your specific contact with your grant in accessing the grant in the system. To do that, you just click New to Web Grants and register here. So right now, I'm basically going to be using a test program. So it's going to have a little bit more broader implications, but it's going to give you an idea of what you can expect when you log into your system. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to log in, and this is going to be a live demonstration. So we're doing it. If you have any questions, please use the chat box. So I just logged in using my user ID and password. This is the main menu associated with your user ID and password. This includes general grantee instructions on how to use the system. This includes My Profile, and this is where you can reset your password or change any applicable information such as phone numbers. And whenever you're using the system, always use this back button. You can also click on current funding opportunities that are out there. This is a test program, so you can see there's a lot of funding opportunities open. But in reality, there will be only several through a number of different state agencies open at any given time. Within your login, you'll be able to see your current application that you've applied for. Again, this is a test, so you're going to see a lot of applications. You will only see one or two at a given time. This is important because the more years we use this system, you'll be able to go back in history and see the applications you submitted through our section. So the most important thing is how to access your grant. So to do that, you click My Grants. Because this is a test site, I have several active grants underway. For your purpose, you're only going to have one grant. I'm going to be picking this Day After Election Day title. Thought it was appropriate. On this column, you're going to be seeing this ID number. This is your contract number. It's going to have the status of underway, the year, which is the fiscal year, federal fiscal year, and it's going to have the grant administrator, whether it's myself, Kevin Dusko, Chad Newman, Sheila Cozy, or Pamela Buckman. So simply what you do is, and you can also see the grant amount on this column. I'm going to click on the title, and this is going to take you to the grant component screen of your grant. And this includes general information, claims, status reports, correspondence, project objectives that you cited within your application and that are approved, your project budget that has been approved, any type of contract documents such as your executed contract, the funding opportunity that you applied under, and the application you applied with. So one disclosure on this system, you will have a very difficult time breaking it, so I suggest you logging in, accessing your grant, click buttons, just become familiar with the grant system. It's not complicated and you cannot break it. The first thing I'm going to show you how to do is connecting somebody else to your grant. So I'm going to click this general information. And right here, this is the grant title, day after the election. It's a test. I'm the grantee contact. Janet Kenny is MDT's program officer. If you want to connect somebody to your specific grant, the first thing that needs to happen is that specific person needs to register and get approved in the Web grant system. That's step one. Step two is then you go into your general information within your grant and you click this edit button up at the top screen, and it's going to give you a list of additional grantee contacts. And because you probably have one or two, that name that just registered that you want to attach to the grant will populate right here. So you simply click on that name, hit save, and now this Pam Buck can access my particular grant. And that's important for a couple reasons to whether or not you just want to monitor on what's going on, or if you want to submit claims on somebody's behalf, et cetera, et cetera. So once I am good with that, I'm going to return to components. Return to components is simply all the grant components associated with your grant. So we're going to get into just how you submit a claim. It's relatively intuitive. So I'm going to hit the claim button. And these claims are going to be, and the budgets within the claims are going to be based upon what has been approved in the project budget. So I just clicked on the project budget. And so right now, this is my approved budget in my grant. Many of your grants are going to have more line items, some only a couple. So I will not be able to adjust any of these line items. If you have any grant adjustments that are required, you need to work with your contact here at MDT to do so. So we're getting to the time period where we need to submit a claim. So I'm going to hit this claim button. This is basically your grant, and this is the number of claims that are in the coffers. As you can see, there is no claims that have been submitted, so I want to add a claim. So you go to this add button at the top of the screen, click add. It's a reimbursement reporting period. I'm going to put the beginning of the project period, which was October 1st. And I'm going to do a monthly reimbursement. So I will go until October 31st. And you just use that calendar. It's pretty simple. This is not a final request, so I do not hit that button. If you're good, hit save. And once you, so grant components, this will take you to your main grant component screen. What you want to do in this fiscal claim is return to components. And this means return to fiscal component. Click on that. Right here is a list that everything is required when you submit a claim. General information, that's what we just filled out with the time period, with the reporting period. And then we actually have the reimbursement form. So what I need to do, this is my budget. This is the approved budget that's within my contract. So say I spend $100 personnel services, I got a $50 TV. I will make it a $100 TV. And so those are all the expenditures for this month. So if I'm good with that, I am going to submit. As you can see, this is my first claim, so I have no prior expenses paid. And this contract match, we are not requiring any reporting on any match, so do not worry about those columns. So if I'm good, I'm going to hit save. Again, if you have any questions, please just type them in and we can address them at the very end. So this is what I just submitted. This is my contract budget, the budget category, expenses this period, which is $100 for personnel, prior expenses paid, 0 since this is my first claim, and then total paid is $100, and that's because we just put that in. And then you have an unpaid balance in this specific line item of $900. So it looks pretty straightforward right now, but it's critical to have these ongoing running balances so you know how much you have left in your grant and we know how much you have left in your grant. And so the more claims you submit, these balances and amounts are going to be continuously adjusting. At any time, if you need a grant adjustment on any expenditures, line items, please contact your grant manager and they will provide the necessary information. So once you're good, you get mark as complete. As you can see, there's this complete column. We have completed with the general information and the reimbursement. At any time prior to submission, you can go back and make any adjustments in any category. So I just hit that reimbursement form again. If something is off, I just hit this edit. And it looks like I put 110 instead of 100, so I'm going to change that. And I hit save. So again, you cannot really break this system. If I'm good with that change, I just go back to the claim forms. And now we are going to show you how to do the backup documentation. Click on this tab. What you want to do is you hit this add button. This will browse your local server. Hit browse. So you hit browse, and then this is where you can look at the different things. I'm going to find something to load up just so you see it's not very easy. I mean, it is easy, sorry. I'm going to go to I'm just going to pick something random. And then you just put a simple description. And you hit save. And it's going to show you what you can put here. So you can attach multiple documents. And I would suggest if you have a receipt for supplies and a receipt for personnel charges, you attach separate documents for that. It just makes the file size less, but you can upload numerous documents as backup documentation. So once I'm good with this, you can open it up and look at it. I won't do that now. And then you hit mark as complete. And then at this point, you can preview all the information. As you can see, mark as complete. I just completed the claim supporting documentation. The last section that is required is authorization. Because we are no longer requiring an ink on paper signed document for claims, we are requiring the authorization certification. And as you can read here, it just certifies that you're abiding by the laws of Montana and that you are approved and authorized within this grant program to submit claims. And all claims submitted are, to your best of knowledge, accurate. And this provides us some reassurance that there are some checks and balances in place when submitting claims. And there's been a lot of questions on who can submit claims, who can't. Ultimately, the project director, who's in charge of contract implementation, should be submitting the claims, but we will accept claims from fiscal representatives and delegated authorities, such as financial people. If you have a financial person that needs to be connected to the grant, I kind of talked about that earlier, about you need to register, and you need to work with your program manager to ensure that you have that delegation of authority. So once you get in there, you hit yes. Just going to put my name. And then I hit save. I'm good?
Kevin, I don't think we're seeing the screen. We're seeing the choose file to upload piece.
Perfect. Thank you for letting me know. You should be now seeing the screen again. I'm going to back up a little bit. So what I did, I just went to this authorization button, and then I put in my information. Again, it looks like this. I check yes, put my name, my title. I hit save. I review it. If I'm good to go, I mark as complete. And at this time, all components within the claim has been completed. So you have the option of previewing the claim for accuracy or submitting. So I am going to go ahead and submit at this time. And at this point, before I hit submit, remember, you can go back and make any type of adjustments that you feel necessary. I hit submit. It gives me a little warning. And I am successfully submitted the grant number 001. And then at this point, I can click here to print the claim. So that, in a nutshell, is submitting a claim through the MDT's web grant process. And I'm going to go to the main menu. I'm going to go to My Grants. And the day after election was the title. I'm going to go to Claims. As you can see right now, you have, this is the contract number 12345780001. It's submitted, it's in submitted status, and you can see how much your claim was. Once the claim has been submitted and paid, it's going to have an indication of status paid and date paid. You can go back in here and look exactly what you submitted. So that is it for claim submission. I'm going to see if we have any questions. We have a question. Can we export this reimbursement screen? You can print it. There's a couple different print options. This is one print option. You can right click, you can print, and then you can do it. So there's a couple different ways you can print. And Natalia, if you have any specific other questions on that, you can get a hold of Chad or myself. So with that, I'm going to take you through programmatic and narrative reporting processes. So for this, I'm going to log out. But again, I'm just going to log in, go to the main menu. And again, I just want to be redundant to just get in there, log in, and start messing with the system. You will not break it. So all subrecipients of MDT will be required to submit claims through this system. But if you have any questions, I am always available. Chad is always available. All staff, we just want to make this as fluid as possible. So right now, I'm going to log out, and I'm going to get into some programmatic reporting. Programmatic reporting is not going to, through this system, is not going to be required of any STEP participants or SET participants or the LEL, CHADS programs. They will be required of any impaired driving course, SOAR programs, SHELA's programs, buckle ups. But if you have any questions, please contact your specific MDT contact. So I am going to go to another test program. So just bear with me. This is my administrative site. So you're going to see some different views, but this is going to give you an idea of what you can expect when you submit your narrative reports. So here's my title. Again, this is my administrative site, so I see a whole bunch of grants. But my title today is Day After Election Status Report Testing. So this is my main grant form. Again, this is a test, so you're going to see some information that won't be on yours, but this is just to show you what status reports are going to look like. So this is my current grant. It's for $2,100. This is the grant number. This is the grant title. I'm going to concentrate now on project objectives that are cited within your grant application that are part of your contract. So right now, these are going to be in the system. So these are my current objectives: to provide training on web grants to subgrantees, to report on successful narrative and fiscal submissions through Montana Web Grants, and continued process evaluation for electronic submissions. So again, there's target population. These are all my objectives that I included in my grant application. They were automatically transferred over to grant tracking. So I want to report on those grant objectives. What I need to do is hit status reports. This is very similar to what you're going to see for claim submission. I have one out there already, and just because I was doing some pre-testing, but I'm going to show you how to add another one. So I'm going to hit add. I'm going to just, it's in editing. There's no due date. The report period I'm going to put for 1 month. October 1st. To Halloween. We'll just keep it as a quarter report, but you do have different monthly, final, period, semi-annual, so whatever is required by your program. So I'm going to hit save. And again, so this is my first claim or my first quarterly report that I submitted. I'm going to show my second one. Simply click this. And you're going to want to go to the components page of the narrative. So right now you have general information. That's what I just completed. I have project objectives, and I have narrative supporting documentation. So I'm going to hit project objectives. And these are the objectives that I just showed you that I had in my application and that are approved in the contract. So how do I report progress on them? Simply click on the objective. And it has, again, this is my objective, to provide training on web grants to subgrantees. And this is my progress report. Going, okay. So once I'm good with that, and obviously you're going to want to write more than that, but that's just an example. I think we have the character limit of 1,000, which is plenty. If you do go over and it won't let you submit because you have too many words, try to reduce. Try to make it more tight in your statements, or you can contact your program manager and we can try to expand it for you. So I'm going to hit save. So this was my first one, to provide training on web grants to subgrantees at this far right, and you just put going okay. Since this says quarter 4, I do not need to report on this because it's not applicable in quarter 1. I have to evaluate, so I want to do this one. Again, just put a quick update. Go up here, hit save. And so these are my updates. If I want, we also have a general comment section. So if you have a comment about your contract, your program, any additional information that may not be directly tied to an objective, you can add general comments. To do that, you click this edit button at the top of the screen, and you will be able to provide general comments. You hit save, and it's all right there. Your objectives, your progress report, and general comments. This is going to show a staff review right now, but this won't be, you won't be able to see this on your end. So if I'm good with all this, I'm going to hit mark as complete. As you can see, this complete column is filled in. I can go back and change if I want to. And then I'm going to have to click this narrative supporting documentation. A lot of times, narrative reporting does not require any supporting documentation. If you don't have anything to add to your progress report, you simply come in here, mark as complete, and then you're good to go. So if I'm good, I can preview, and then I hit the submit. And that, in a nutshell, is it. And kind of a couple of questions that came through. Limitation of size for attachments. There's no limit on size. You can actually attach pretty hefty documents. My only warning to you is that the larger you attach, the longer it is going to take to upload. So if you have the ability to, you know, send a couple different attachments, like a receipt, like in the claim process, a receipt for operating expenses compared to salaries, and break it out, that's optimal. But you have a discretion on that. So I'm going to go back to this, my status reports, and as you can see, I have submitted this. So I'm going to click this, and you can see what you submitted. So pretty simple. The more we get into it, easier it's going to be. Log out. We have a couple questions. One question is, do we need to submit monthly or quarterly reports? DOI courts need to submit monthly and quarterly. If you have any other specific questions on programmatic reporting, contact your MDT contract manager. So I don't see any other questions coming in, so I'm going to assuming that my presentation was very explicit and covered everything that you needed to know. So I am going to, if you have any questions, speak up. If not, you can always ask me at a subsequent time. Good luck in the system. I hope you find it useful, and you all have a happy Thanksgiving.